Hello, today we will be looking at Tower of Keyboard Yeeting and reviewing several different hard parts of it. You can see that on the difficulty chart in Ring 1, Tower of Keyboard Yeeting is a low difficult, which is slightly above hard. If you've beaten any of the other intermediate towers, this shouldn't be too hard for you. Floor 1 starts off with some very basic jumps that could fit in any tower of any difficulty. These wraps shouldn't be too much of a struggle either. A nice ladder because they must have been bored and just wanted to get to the next floor quickly. Referring to the creator. Alright, floor 2 is not much harder than floor 1. You just go on this rope swing platform and jump to the net and do a few basic jumps. There's a spinning platform there. And some long pole jumps. There are two routes on this part. You can take the longer but easier route, or you can take the shorter but slightly harder route. I'll just show you the harder route because it will save time. Some rotated 1 studs, which may be a bit tricky if you're a beginner. A 3 stud wraparound. Some kill bricks, which are pretty easy to do. They really do not pose any threat at all. And if you go across here, you can see they have this weird like grid pattern of kill bricks, which I don't see very often in towers. I kind of remember something like that being in one of the older towers, Tower of Slight Unhappiness. I may want to mention that there is a secret path here on this snake where you can take it across and skip this jump. If you haven't noticed already, you will be able to fall through the lightly colored parts. This jump is a bit tricky for a lot of people, and I'd not be afraid to say that this is the first hard jump of the tower. You have to get slightly down on that part. You can see under it there is a spot for you to stand. This jump is equally as hard. Get aligned just about right on the 2 stud like I am, and jump straight forward with an A space tap. Straight to your side. Those first 2 wraps were pretty easy, but this may daunt you as a beginner. Don't worry about it, because at the end of the 2 studs stick out, there's a ledge going 1 stud to give you an advantage. These are just some head hitters. You may find trouble with them, but in time you'll be fine. This pusher takes you to the next floor. You could do a momentum jump and jump super forward out, or you could just turn to the side and do that after jumping. Both are just as the same difficulty. Go this way and get on the pole. I really like this floor a lot. It's one of my favorite floors in the tower for no reason at all. Get on the spinner and take it across. It may be a bit hard to see because of the winter fog, which unfortunately there is no option to disable because of the Christmas event. This is one of the hardest sections of the tower, and I struggled on it for a while back when I first did it in 2018. Essentially, these are some conveyor jumps. Beware of the last conveyor of this set, as I like to call it, because it goes backward, meaning you have to do an extra jump on there to align yourself right. Anyways, just do some D-space jumps. Perfect. That's exactly how you do it. At the last conveyor, you have to do A instead of D. Wait, at the last set. Yeah, you get the point. Okay, get across here. And take this pathway. So, this pathway is incredibly difficult for a lot of people. Basically, you can see that the conveyor goes out, and if you fall, you will be in trouble. Well, how am I staying on here? I am holding down the space bar and W, so I will always stay towards the wall. Combine that with holding A, and you will be able to get to the next section. Let go once you get there and do the same thing again. On this section, adjust yourself just to the edge of this conveyor and then once your alignment is right, take a slight turn and use A and maneuver yourself over. Kind of like you did half of a wraparound. It's very tricky, but that's the best way I can explain it. If it needs it, I can do another video on this whole section. These kill bricks, once again, are especially not any threat. These are very tricky. These loose platforms swing around at high speed, so if you want to stay balanced on them and take your time, make sure to stand in the center of them where the rope is. After that, you get onto those one studs. And yeah, if you fall below here, I don't know how long it will take for those platforms to calm down, so you may just want to do a quick reset, who knows. For the 2020 Christmas event, right here there is an invisible pathway, which you can take along this wall and eventually go to a present with. I'll show you the location. Here is the present. Well, you don't see anything. There will eventually, a present will spawn here. It's most likely to be the present of Festive Memories, however, there is a possibility it could be a different present. I believe Christmas Delight. See you in a minute. On my way back up, and I just wanted to comment how this really seems like they could have made a hole through here and opened it up and made it the perfect spot for a present. I realized that wouldn't even be possible. Okay. Well, anyways, I was right that these would calm down eventually. Actually, I wasn't right because I didn't think they would, so I'm wrong. Anyways, I really enjoyed falling because it made the video more interesting and I got the chance to drink water. Fun fact, me commenting about that made the video more interesting. Okay. This is the floor 6 outside section, and you do a wrap into that little hole. You do these kill bricks, and boom, you're at the outside section. And this outside section may be tricky the first time, but it really isn't that hard once you get used to it. Especially these wraparounds. These are not that bad at all. So, people have different ways of doing this jump. I like to do it like that and go sideways and forward, but some people do it like that. But I find that to be very stressful because it requires such a precise timing. But it's really up to you. Whatever you intuitively just find more comfortable to do. This wall, I'd like to not walk across it completely, but this server has kill brick lag, so it really doesn't even matter. I like to avoid taking damage. You can take a wrap there. And this jump is definitely the hardest of the outside section. I've seen people fail it before. But, my friend, you can see that it's actually not so bad because all you have to do, I like to just align myself like this. This is the third time I've been to this section. What you are supposed to do is get right at the edge and do a W space jump. It's a bit tricky, but you'll get it. I cannot believe that how good my fails are. I'm really enjoying this perfect content. This wrap, a lot of people think, oh my god, it's so intimidating, but it's really not. You just wrap upwards. And nice walkway, walkway. There's really not much to say about this, but I will say that this jump can be a bit tricky. Just angle it well, maybe hold A a little bit to stay against the wall, but you'll get it. This question mark basically means that it's ice and they decided to make it interesting. When I first saw the question mark, I was like, oh, this is going to be some neat mystery block, but it was ice. So, just do a wrap there. And you may think, wow, this ice is really hard because it's so slippery. Well, you could make it a little easier if you want by holding space and then wrapping around once your jump is perfectly timed. But I don't know how hard that will be for some of you, but I do think that it certainly makes this section a lot easier. Holding space lowers the friction so you can jump better. You see, that was a small slip up. Pardon the pun. Once you get back here, I would suggest if you slide along this pole, press space at certain increments of it so you can readjust yourself, kind of like you see me doing there. At least doing it a couple times with pressing space will make the friction between you and the part better. This red floor was pretty troublesome. So you can see when you push out the X pusher, you think, oh, is that some kind of momentum jump? I don't know. I don't know if you can do a momentum jump. But all I've ever known is that you get right here sideways, align yourself, tap A very slowly, and then do a jump forward and get on the next X pusher. Very, very basic. Nothing to commentate here, except the fact that I am commentating it by saying there's nothing to commentate. I tricked you with that one, didn't I? So basically, you take this X pusher out and go into here and just get up and immediately walk out. You see, without kill brick lag, okay? Without kill brick lag. I don't know if that will kill you. So you may just want to do it slowly, come in, and then stop and get off. I do remember one time when I was a beginner doing this, someone tricked me into going through here. I thought that this was the other side where you had to go, and I died. And I forgive you, because it was 2 years ago. And you go out here, little rope platforms. And then you get to this section. So you have two ways. If you want to do it the cool way, you go across this and you do some tricky jumps along that smaller tightrope. But I think that most of you, if this is your first time beating it, aren't going to do that. You're going to go across here, read the sign, and it tells you, this is a path guesser. It tells you which path to take, being middle, left, or right. You can listen to it, or at least listen to some of it, or you can use your camera through and see which part it can't go through. The classic method. But I'll just remember for myself, middle, middle, left, right, middle. Middle, left, right, left, middle. And then since I don't remember anymore and I didn't read any further, I can just use my camera through here. Or, if you really want to be a trickster, you can read this sign. You really can read it from here. And that's what's funny. Not the whole thing, but probably depends on where you stand. That one looks like it's can collide on. How many studs is that? 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So if you perform a 12 stud jump, you can actually skip over the whole thing. But it looks like I literally just guessed the part. I really did do at least one path guess. I highly advise you do not do that. And this part, for some reason, always scares me. It's these tricky, timed upwards pole jumps. I like doing it space first and then pressing W because I found that gives you lower momentum and it allows you to perfectly time it, but that may not be the way you'd like to do it. So, but there are basically two ways you can do this section. You can do a cool wrap out onto that truss and skip all of it, or you can just do the jumps down there and climb up the ladder. I recommend doing the first way if you're a beginner, but it's really up to you. And then this is the last floor. This last floor isn't even that hard to see. It isn't even hard to do. You probably won't struggle with too much of it besides this jump. This jump was pretty hard for me. What you kind of want to do is get at the edge, right at this stud, and do a D space and then climb with W under here. And then you do a stick out head hitter right there. And boom, here's the last tightrope of the entire tower. You can walk across it slowly like I did when it was my first time and give your camera occasional turns. Just like that. That was a save. That was quite the save. So make sure you don't walk too much like I did. So I'll be right back. Oh, and I have a tendency to miscount things, so if those happen to be 13 studs, just don't listen to my advice about you being able to jump over those. I would not recommend that. Okay, one final time. The tightrope on floor 10. You can take it across slowly, or you can do this. I would recommend taking it across slowly, and then you do a last jump onto this smaller stud, which is pretty intimidating, but if you want, you can go first person, just whatever is comfortable to you, and then climb up the ladder, and oh, I was about to walk off there because of the darkness and maybe possibly the infinite fog, which is consumed ring 1, but there is actually another jump, apparently. You don't get to walk to the wind pad. Better inform some people about that, because I may have accidentally tricked them. Let's jump to the wind pad. There you go. You win keyboard yeeting. Probably your first light red, but not definitely. After this, do whatever is the easiest tower available to you, maybe in ring 2, zone 1. And then you could try going on to Tower of Stress, which is a great tower, and I'll do a video about it later. Anyways, goodbye. See you in the next one.